Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden science that keeps our world comfortable, the super precise engineering of staying cool.
Think about it. Is picking an AC unit just a lucky guess, or is there some secret formula behind it all? Well, spoiler alert, there totally is a science to it, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll size up the enemy, heat. Then, we'll get into the master strategy engineers use to beat it, looking at attacks from both outside and inside. And finally, we'll see how they choose the perfect weapon for the job.
Okay, so to win any battle, you've got to know the size of the force you're up against, right? In air conditioning, that force is heat, and the whole fight for cool kicks off by calculating one single crucial number.
And this is it, the cooling load. Think of this as the AC system's ultimate mission objective. It's the exact amount of heat the system needs to kick out of the room every single hour to keep you from melting. Every decision an engineer makes flows from getting this one number right.
So how do they actually find that magic number? Well, it's not a guess. They use a master plan, a formula that accounts for every possible way heat can invade a room.
And here it is, the master plan in all its glory. Now, I know it looks a little complex, but the really cool thing is that each of these 7 parts represents a different enemy of cool that has to be defeated. So let's meet these villains one by one.
Our first group of enemies are the invaders. These are all the ways that heat gets into a room from the great outdoors. There are 4 major pathways we need to look at.
This is the most basic enemy, heat, just soaking through the solid parts of your room. It's the exact same idea as feeling the warmth bleed through a hot coffee mug. Heat naturally moves from a warmer area, like the outside, to a cooler area, your room, and it does it right through the walls.
So here's the thing. Not all walls are created equal. Engineers calculate this load based on what the wall is actually made of. Is it insulated brick? Is it just thin drywall? They look at its total size, and of course, the big one, how hot it is outside compared to how cool you want it inside. A bigger temperature difference means a much bigger fight.
Next up is the heavyweight champion of external heat, the sun. This isn't just about the air temperature, this is about the raw power of solar radiation just beating down on your building and pouring through the windows. It's a huge source of heat that needs its very own calculation.
And this is where the engineering gets really interesting. They consider the sun's intensity, obviously, but also things like the building's color. A dark wall absorbs way more heat than a light one. Even the size and shading on your windows are a critical part of the equation.
Now for 2 enemies that sound really similar but are completely different. Ventilation is the hot air you intentionally bring in to keep the air fresh. It's a controlled part of the system. Infiltration, on the other hand, is like an enemy spy. It's all the hot air that leaks in through tiny cracks around windows and doors. One is an invited guest, the other is an intruder.
Okay, let's keep going. We've secured the perimeter from all the outside threats, but the battle is not over. There are secret heat sources, internal enemies, already operating from inside the room.
First up, your lights. It's so easy to forget, but every single light bulb is also a tiny heater. I'm serious. Whether it's an old incandescent bulb or a new fluorescent one, a portion of its electricity becomes heat, and the AC system has to work to get rid of it.
And the same exact thing goes for any piece of equipment with a motor. Your computer's fan, the office printer, a fridge, they all have motors that generate heat while they run. An engineer has to add up all these little heat signatures to get an accurate number.
And now for the most surprising internal enemy, us. Every single person in a room is basically a little 100-watt heater, constantly radiating body heat into the space. That's why a crowded room gets hot so incredibly fast. An engineer absolutely needs to know the maximum number of people expected in a room to calculate this part of the load.
So we've identified all 7 enemies of cool, both the external ones and the internal ones. Now it's time for the final step, adding up all the numbers to figure out exactly how powerful our air conditioning system needs to be to win.
And it all comes together in 3 pretty simple steps. First, the engineer meticulously calculates the heat coming from each of those 7 sources. Second, they add all those numbers up to get that one big number, the total cooling load. And third, they select an AC unit that is perfectly sized to remove that exact amount of heat.
So after all those complex calculations for the walls, the sun, the people, the lights, the whole shebang, they end up with a single concrete number. Maybe something like this, 3,500 watts. That is the target. That is the amount of heat energy the AC unit has to remove from the room every hour on the hour.
So why does all this matter so much? Well, because precision is everything. If the AC is too weak, the room's going to be hot and uncomfortable. But if it's too powerful, it will waste a massive amount of electricity and money. By matching the system to the load, engineers create a space that's both perfectly comfortable and as efficient as possible.
So, the next time you walk into a blissfully cool room on a hot day, you'll know it's not magic, it's math. A calculated victory in the battle against heat. Which really just leaves one question. Now that you know the enemies of cool, how well defended is your fortress?